butternut.
Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday, the 19th of April, 2015. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Robert Kemp.
Bed ain't gonna shit itself.
And Zachary Burgess.
Whatever that means. Rob's been having bed shitting action.
I thought it was time to vary that theme.
What, very what theme? The theme of what?
The shit the bed theme.
How is that a theme?
Or bed shitting action. Things I might say. I needed a new variant.
Things you might say, but last time we had the absolutely no noises at all. That was the theme of that. It was your gradual decline into not actually making a single sound at the start of the podcast.
I don't mean the theme of my starting vocals. I meant just the theme of that phrase.
That you've never used before ever.
That's not true. Rob uses that phrase.
Probably not intentionally, like, with a purpose. You probably just said it because it's something that you say.
But isn't that something I then say? Therefore,
yes, but you haven't thought about it. You haven't deliberately said that in order to make it a thing, and therefore a theme.
It was already a thing. It's
I didn't invent it.
It's quite weird.
Well, actually, bed shitting action might be my take on it.
Was that Zach or you?
I can't remember.
Is that what you're going to say now if something surprises you? Oh, bed shitting action.
I think I do use that from time to time.
Ew. Why is that phrase a thing? It's like the grossest thing you can think of almost. And it means I think it's like
I think it was a Russell Howard thing, and and it was just sort of his version of like shut the front door or something. Something dumb sort of to say in exclamation.
Right. Did he come up with it then?
I don't know. That was where I first heard it anyway.
What was the etymology of oh, sorry.
Man on internet looks up shit the bed. This is going to go so well.
Shit the bed. That's never a good idea. Oh, dear.
You might have to start at Urban Dictionary and work from there. You might be safe.
It's not etymology if it's a phrase. That's just for words, right?
I guess Urban Dictionary
it's just
probably
origin of a phrase.
Yeah. I guess Urban Dictionary probably wouldn't tell you where it came from.
What is the origin of the phrase? The bee's knees. I'm just gonna type shit the bed into Google. That's where
no.
Urban Dictionary. Woo! Naturally, it doesn't say where it came from. But there you go. Well, that's one kind of action.
Yep. Like no, the action you can't figure out what. Oh wait, hang on. Reddit is talking about it. This is great.
Oh no.
In the etymology Reddit at that.
There's an etymology Reddit.
Apparently, yeah. r/etymology.
Oh dear, I'm going to be joining that one. Oh god.
So yeah. How is everyone?
This is another kind of action, podcasting kind of action.
Extreme podcast action, guys.
Is it feeling extreme today? And what would make it extreme? If you were like, because there's extreme ironing, isn't there, where you like iron on mountains and stuff and do ironing like attached to the side of aeroplanes and things. But what would be extreme podcasting? A similar scenario?
Yeah, you'd have to be like hanging off a tightrope, like with a microphone strapped to your head or something, or even better, without a microphone strapped to your head, and you're just holding a microphone in front of your face and a loudspeaker in the other hand.
What? So you can hear?
Yeah, it's not like you have to make it more extreme. So you're not allowed a headset. No, you have to carry a microphone and a speaker and mash those into your face in the appropriate location whilst hanging or walking a tightrope.
Because that's the trouble. Almost anything you do, like, mountain climbing or flying a rocket or whatever, you can still strap a microphone and a headset to your head, no matter what you're kind of doing. So you can kind of podcast doing almost anything with relative ease, just by having a headset. So that's not extreme enough.
You've got to take the convenience away to make it extreme.
Oh, I see.
All in the delivery.
This is not an example of extreme podcasting. This is fairly
casual podcasting. This is podcasting, 101.
This is
I don't know.
Most lazy podcasting because I'm not even at Rob's house today because I was there yesterday for some reason.
Well, yeah, we got presumptuous with our plans, and then they fell apart a little bit, and then we ended up watching fecking Old Spice.
What?
Don't
Old
talk about
Spice?
that.
Don't talk about it. Like, give Old Spice more promotion.
Wait, is that a movie? Oh, do you just mean the adverts?
Well, not exactly. Okay,
I said don't talk about that.
We're talking about it.
No, we're not.
I'm curious. Watching Old Spice, what does that even mean? You just have a bottle of Old Spice that you just stared at.
It was basically Rob used the wrong phrase to describe what we were watching. We were watching a dumb thing that was a live event that was advertising Old Spice.
It was basically Twitch plays a guy in the woods.
It's basically the dancing penguin thing from the ancient internet times.
The dancing penguin thing.
Do you not remember? I think it was a penguin, wasn't it? The guy in like some dude's front room who was dressed up as, I think it was a penguin, and they had a live chat that told him what to do, and he did it. And everyone was incredibly amazed.
Wasn't that like a KFC like chicken?
Oh yeah, it was a chicken. That's right.
Yeah,
I just thought penguin. It's sort of similar.
A penguin would be better.
It's basically that exact thing again, only many years later, where it's not nearly as astounding because it's like it's just a live chat. That's not amazing any longer.
Yeah, but this is guy with like proper camera equipment in the woods, and they've set up stupid scenarios.
Still not amazing.
Still funny. It's a pizza tree.
It was incredibly actually not funny.
Well,
the only funny thing about it was there was just the running joke of having him bury everything, and that's only funny because it's a running joke. It's not funny in itself.
Right. It's only funny after the first few times.
Yeah.
And then it gets funnier every time subsequently.
When he's being told to bury people, just puts a few leaves on their face.
Well, all the instructions just bury an object.
Pretty much.
Most of them were.
Regardless, like whenever there was like, here's something new, and then it's like generally the first one is like examine it, and then they examine it, and then the next one is inevitably bury it.
Bury it. Oh man.
Or vowing not to bury it, and then burying it, and then saying, I vow never to unvow to bury that vow. That happened a lot.
What, making them vow?
Making them vow they wouldn't do things and then immediately breaking it. Because
I solemnly swear I will never do X.
I vow I will protect you, talking tree. And then next one is, take tree's lips off.
There was a talking tree? How has this got to do with Old Spice? I
don't really know. Then again, Old Spice is on a horse.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. It's just Old Spice trying to be random deliberately because that's their thing.
Was it like a super good-looking dude like that Old Spice dude?
No,
it was a random guy.
Oh, okay.
Looked a bit like Nico.
That was the thing that wasn't Old Spice enough about it. They didn't. It wasn't like extreme. It was just like here's a guy in the woods walking around,
but it wasn't really enough of a game to it. I don't think, but I'm not entirely sure how they would have managed that. But
well, you can't manage it because the very little bit of game that they tried to do. Yeah, was just like immediately screwed up every time by doing things.
And it started to become somewhat obvious towards the end that they were having to steer things in the direction of progress.
Yes, naturally, democracy.
Yeah, and also, so it's hard to know whether or not some of the instructions that were coming through were actually from Old Spice production or something. Or
it's not like they were. It had to have all been picked by hand. It wasn't like Twitch where it's like it's randomly going to choose whatever one when they hit the button.
Yeah. Someone would have had to have said yes to it.
So that was dumb.
It was pretty dumb.
Not to get too on topic, but speaking of dumb live event shit, do you see that Deus Ex thing? Before they announced, so they've announced in the new Deus Ex game finally.
Well, it leaked before they announced it.
It leaked. Yeah. It leaked, but it didn't actually leak. It leaked before they meant to announce it, but it didn't leak before they did this stupid live event thing where they had some guy in a prison cell or something with a Twitch stream of it or something.
Right.
Do you guys see any of this thing?
No.
Well, that's basically the same as something that they did for I think it might have been Black Ops 1 or maybe Black Ops 2. They basically did the same thing, except it wasn't over Twitch, it was for press. So they basically had like a prison that had like a viewing of like one-way glass or whatever, and all the press were sitting there looking into this prison cell. It's like, what the fuck is this?
This mysterious actor guy.
But that was for Black Ops. So it's a similar idea, but slightly less ridiculous, maybe.
Oh wait, so wait, if it was from Black Ops, did they do the whole like this guy's in a chair being interrogated?
Yeah, they set up the room to look like that. I don't think there was an actual guy. I think it was just like the empty room set up to look like that room, and then occasionally like a woman would come in and rearrange things or something. From what I heard,
right?
Pretty much.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Why do they do these things? I don't know.
Because it is funny to hear about them, and it does make news when they're crazy. That's why they do them, because they're stupid. Even if everyone knows it's stupid, and they turn around and say, this was really dumb, the fact that they're saying this was really dumb is publicity.
I guess.
And it kind of works.
So an example headline from Polygon is, what the hell is Square Enix doing on Twitch?
Well, exactly. That gets people interested because it's like, what the hell are Square doing on Twitch?
Sometimes the man paces around the room. Sometimes he sleeps. Right now, he's meditating.
Sometimes he does perfectly ordinary things that people do.
Yeah. I mean, so dumb.
I stand by their statement. Like, what are they doing on Twitch? Get off Twitch, Square. There's no place for you.
I mean... In comparison, the kind of random guy in the woods promoting Old Spice by burying things seems like genius in comparison.
When they even came across Old Spice, people basically just ignored it and did everything else.
Well, that's got to have been chosen by them things, because you can't hurt the brand. You can't bury the Old Spice.
No.
That's a shame. But it would be a treasure for future generations.
And then it would be really Old Spice. It'd be like vintage Spice. They should do that. They should totally have like a vintage Spice for the older gentleman. Not that Old Spice isn't already kind of for the older gentleman, but
it was meant to be, wasn't it? Until they had this new appetizer campaign to make it appeal to young people somehow. I don't know how.
Power.
Doesn't appeal to me. What even is it?
Smell? That they put in
it's a range of smells. Other products.
Well, no, like Old Spice is a smell. It's a bit like, Chanel No. 5 or whatever, and that's the smell. But you can then put that smell in all kinds of toiletries.
Right, but they don't do that with, like, I know Chanel No. 5 is for women, but the equivalent, they don't do.
They do with other things. Like, if you, like, I don't know, Hugo Boss is the example that comes to mind, because I used to have a shower gel that was the smell of Boss.
Really?
Or something,
okay.
Yeah.
So you'd use that and it had a sort of similar smell to the actual cologne stuff?
Well, I don't know. I never actually had the cologne. What are you talking about? Me have a cologne? Come on.
No, I'm not saying you would. The thing about cologne is, like, if you get given it as a present, like for Christmas or something, for some reason, then of course it lasts forever. So, so then you just have cologne. You go from someone who doesn't have cologne to someone who does and never wears it.
It's not like, it's not like I would mind. It's a reasonably good gift, I think. But actually, it's not something that I would go out of my way to actually buy. Which is why Gnome is exactly the same. But Gnome has like basically liters of the stuff.
Yep. Well, if you use it every day, you're going to go through it, aren't you?
Yeah. Use of cologne is no indication of your natural smell. Although it's one of those things. I'm not entirely sure you could. Could you own up to saying Old Spice? Is Old Spice like just one of those smells that you don't talk about? I don't know. It's just like, wait, what's that? Oh, it's Old Spice. Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I don't know.
I wouldn't know Old Spice over any other over New Spice.
They all kind of smell the same to me.
Like
It's one of those things from afar. All colognes smell like, oh, that's a cologne, rather than, oh, that's this particular one. It's only when you get, like, I don't know, up in someone's grill that you can probably tell the difference.
You need to get up in your grill to tell if it's Old Spice.
Yeah. Let me just smell your teeth.
Yeah. It's horrible.
What do teeth smell like?
So, Zach, you wear cologne like every day, right?
No, but I think I do have some from a Christmas at some point.
You do.
Actually, I can see the box from here, but I never actually looked what was in this box.
You never opened the box. Genius.
Oh no, it's not quite clone. It's only deodorant and shower gel, but it is like a fragrance related pack.
You're like mildly allergic to deodorant, though, right?
Airborne deodorant. It's like it's not really allergic as much as irritant.
Oh, okay.
You mean like aerosol? Airborne makes it sound like a deadly.
That's what it is, isn't it?
I'm deathly afflicted with Lynx Africa. That is not an Ebola joke.
I was a bit worried there for a second.
I made a poor choice of Lynx flavor, but Africa's the one that's like been around since forever.
I don't know any. I thought it was just Lynx. How many different
There's always been like at least 5 on sale, but I think they cycle them out every now and then. Like Africa's like the only one that stayed.
Are Lynx and Axe in America? Are they exactly the same?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know actually. There's a good chance they might not actually be exactly the same. But it's the same brand.
Right. Okay. What about like
the same font and everything,
and like Lay's?
Again, the same company, but who knows if the actual content is the same?
Right.
Walkers.
So Lynx is a cat, and an axe is
an axe.
Like they're not very similar. It's not like it's Lynx and tiger or something, or I don't know.
Makes you wonder what the marketing logic was behind that. Is Axe Axe seems a bit too violent for the British audience.
Which came first, the Lynx or the Axe?
I mean, when they were bringing it over, was there some kind of like axe murderer problem? And they thought that's a bit insensitive.
Yeah, but then what about the people selling axes? They've got a bit more of an image problem. They're like, shit, how do we advertise our axes for like chopping down trees?
Who advertises an axe?
The people that make axes, I guess.
I suppose there's some like internal, I don't know, industry meeting somewhere. Hey, check out this high-tech new axe we made.
Yeah,
it's like a regular axe, only twice as cutting.
Super cutting, yeah.
It's like ultra cutting. Now with Cutec.
Cutec.
Of course, none of these axes can really cut it in this market because I've just invented Rob's cut fucker. I don't know.
Are you gonna like take over this industry with your new cut fucker?
Woodfucker. Yeah, the woodfucker. That's a bit better. But then that could be anything. Like, if I had a chipper, then that would also be the woodfucker. Maybe woodfucker is the range.
Yeah. And this is the axe, the woodfucker axe. What do you get against these
the
guys?
woodfucking cut fucker.
You got like an axe to grind or something.
Taking this.
Oh dear.
One chip at a time.
On that note, this is a podcast about video games.
Woo! We haven't got to that bit yet. We haven't even done the random.
That was pretty random. I don't know.
It was random. It was barely consistent. By the way,
barely coherent, stringing sentence together. There you go.
That's Rob's special skill.
It was meandering.
I haven't talked about my epic computer trials again.
Oh god, now what's going on?
Whatever. I want to know about your tea making.
Well, there hasn't been much trials in tea making.
Just that it takes 10 minutes.
That's fine. That's how long it takes.
How's your experiences with the Robco tea fucker?
If only. That would probably make it well quick.
It has to make the tea quite aggressively. It's like it's in its name,
exactly.
Isn't it?
Why would you want fucked tea?
In fairness, that is the one problem with the marketing campaigns of Robco. That if you just ask yourself, do you want a fucked anything when you buy it?
I can't really think of anything.
I may be a lumberjack, but I'm not entirely sure I want my wood fucked.
So yeah, I was messing around with my computer again because I'm still not satisfied with the mysterious wireless interference off my graphics card situation. Well, of course I'm not satisfied because it still exists, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at it again and thinking of, well, first I was thinking of like various solutions that I could try that maybe wouldn't be as annoying as having to buy another fucking wireless card or a dongle or a fucking giant cable or something.
Giant cables. Always giant cables.
So I was looking for, one of the things I looked at was that you can get extension cables for the wireless aerials. Like it's a cable with those actual weird screw-on ports specifically for wireless aerials. And I was like, that could theoretically work. So I'd put the aerial further away from the graphics card, but then I would need 3 of those because I've got 3 aerials on my card now.
And it also depends whether or not the shielding on the cable is
good enough, yeah.
Appropriate, yeah.
And whether the interference is directly on the card, which was the thing that then happened because I was messing around. I was like researching the problem to see if there was any indication that other people had had the same problem, and there were a few. So it's like, okay, this sort of sometimes happens. It's just a graphics card thing, where inconveniently graphics cards have a frequency of like interference that happens to be perfectly aligned with wireless. It's like, well, that's sort of inconvenient design. So I was looking at that and thinking about interference, and then there was one guy who suggested that you could like shield it somehow. So obviously I thought, oh, I know, I can shield it. So I got a A4 like ring binder plastic sleeve, shoved a sheet of tinfoil in there, and started randomly positioning that in various places around in my case and behind my case and like in between the wireless aerials and the monitor cables and then like in between the graphics card and the wireless card.
Yeah.
To see if that actually made any difference. And it actually does. Which is really annoying because that's a really dumb solution to anything.
Okay.
But then I was like, well, I can't just leave a giant fucking A4 sheet of plastic coated tinfoil inside my computer because that would just fuck with the airflow.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
So then
And
I
it could
thought,
randomly short like
yeah, and it
parts
could
of your
like melt
motherboard
through the
as well.
plastic because shit gets hot in there.
Oh yeah, shorting is the worst thing I'd be worried about. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. Melt through the plastic.
That's not shorting. That's just melting.
It melts through the plastic to the metal that's protected from being shorted by the plastic.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to fall onto the spot, but anyway, yeah.
So yeah, I was messing around with that for a while, and then I thought maybe I could construct an incredibly precise version of this by like cutting out of card like a small, making a box that fits around my wireless card, then coating that in tinfoil, and then coating that in cling film. So I did that, but that doesn't work because it turns out like the like not perfect flatness of the aluminium is what actually causes it to prevent the interference. So you actually have to crinkle it up a bit to actually get it to actually have any effect. So my precise creation of that tiny metal coated box wasn't quite like sufficient to work. And at that point I was like, this is dumb. I'm going to stop this. Oh, actually, what made me realize it was dumb is that I also discovered that the actual position I was sitting in my chair was affecting how much interference there was.
Oh, great.
And I was like, well, this is really dumb now.
Yeah.
Now I can't even test it because when I lean forward to move the tinfoil around inside my case, I'm causing interference.
Is it actually that you're just the sole cause, and that when the GPU is doing stuff on screen, obviously it's quite exciting, and so you enter some kind
leaning
of
forward or something?
No, it's not a dramatic effect with me compared to the actual graphics card.
So you're like going, oh shit, and then suddenly all the Wi-Fi dropped.
It's really annoying because I don't even sit in line to where the line of sight between the router and the graphic and the wireless card even is. It's like I'm practically at 90 degrees to where the signal should be going. I must just be reflecting the interference back at it or something.
Yeah, or just, I guess the signal could be bouncing off anything anywhere, so, you just happen to be blocking it in a certain way.
So it's all dumb. I think I might buy some of those wireless cable extensions because they're cheap. They're like £1 for 3 meters or something, and you can just get 3 of them.
I still think at this point you're probably better off with some other solution if it's unavoidable that your graphics card is going to be kicking out this interference.
There's not really any other solutions that don't involve wireless at some point, apart from like physically installing something into the house, which is not really possible.
Well, I have a somewhat separate Wi-Fi device that you cable to. So you've still got Wi-Fi, but it's...
Well, that's the whole point of the wireless extension, like cables, isn't it?
But yeah, sure, but you use Ethernet rather than use something that it can suffer the interference in close proximity.
Well, that's assuming that the Ethernet cables would be better shielded than the wireless ones.
Sure, but I don't know. This sounds more plausible than some other Wi-Fi based option.
The cables are cheap. That's the important thing.
Well, true.
Don't have to buy an entire. And because I was also looking at like the Ethernet over power line stuff, but then that might not work at all because it might be on two different ring circuits between the upstairs and downstairs power sockets, and it also, like, the quality of that is dependent on the quality of the wiring, and I can guarantee you that the quality of wiring in this house is really, really bad.
Right.
So yeah, never mind.
No dice.
So what's the conclusion then?
I'll buy those cables and then see what happens.
Just
Could you use your crappy router and link that somehow and make it act as either a repeater or just a Wi-Fi receiver?
Yeah, that's what I was
Ethernet
thinking.
to that, because you probably have a router you could either mod or.
I don't think I do.
Flash.
I don't think I have any spare routers now.
Oh, did your last crap one go somewhere?
Well, I gave you back the BT Home Hub, which we were using before.
As it turns out, it's a massive upgrade over the one you get from over the one you get from PlusNet.
And then before that, I guess I was using another BT Home Hub. I don't remember what happened to that one. The old Home Hub. That might have been yours as well, wasn't it?
Oh, what, the Home Hub 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have one of those. That probably was mine.
Yeah, that probably was yours as well. And then before that, obviously, was a very long time ago where we had that ancient Belkin, but that one actually died.
Actually, I say that was mine. That technically wasn't mine either. But that's like a double trade.
So yeah, I don't know. That's no help at all. Don't have anything to do there. I wonder if Bluetooth gets interference. It's like Bluetooth to my phone and you use that as a wireless access point. That'd probably not be good at all.
Well, you're going to actually use your phone for the for the internet.
No, I think he means like have his phone connected to the Wi-Fi and then have it then transmit the internet over Bluetooth from the phone to the computer somehow. I mean, good luck pulling that off on a Windows phone or a non-rootkitted regular phone. But
yeah, exactly.
No rootkit for you. My phone is messed up.
Apparently. What's going on?
It's the second time it's done this. In that it just stops sending and receiving messages and emails.
Surely this is something that like Nokia worked out in like 1992 or something.
Well,
like
yeah, it's got to be.
Message.
It's got to be related to the Lumia Cyan firmware, which I haven't had for very long.
Okay.
And yeah, it's annoying because it silently stops. It's like there's no indication that it's gone wrong other than, hey, Dan didn't reply to those messages because they didn't send.
Yeah,
and that's
I got all three in one big burst today when you whatever you did.
Yeah, I mean,
your phone or something.
I mean, last time, I reset it. And last time it happened, like I could send messages, but I wouldn't be, and I could receive them, but I wouldn't be notified that I had received them. So the only way of me telling that I had a message would be to go into the Messages app and see, oh, hang on, there's something there and it's marked as unread.
Right, and actually look.
Yeah. It's quite irritating. So after all that discussion I made of like Windows phones being, hey, they're actually pretty good as phones. You know, they like modern phones have sort of become, I think, slightly crap at being phones.
Mm-hmm.
And like Windows Phone is actually quite good at being a phone, and that's probably no longer true.
Apparently, with this firmware or whatever it is.
It's quite annoying. So I only have to last another 8 months, then I could trade. Then again, 3 constantly ring me to say, "Hey, do you want another phone?" And it's like, all right, how's this going to work? I'm still on contract for quite a while.
What do they mean then?
I don't know. There's probably one of those. I think some networks have started doing these, like, you can upgrade now, but your remaining months will be part of your new contract or something. So you'll enter in like a 24-month, like a 30-month or something.
It'd be a shame not. I mean, surely there must be a way of fixing it.
Just try turning it off and on again. Yeah, I admit I haven't researched it yet, but
okay.
Just a top tip: turn your Windows Phone off, and then turn it back on again.
That happens to me automatically because I never remember to plug the damn thing in, and then the battery runs out.
How handy!
My phone stays on for like months.
I should probably just turn it off at night. There's no point in me having it on really when I'm trying to sleep.
I used to use my phone for my alarm clock and stuff, and I use that sleep cycle app to like track my sleep patterns and stuff. So it was always on. But now I've got the old phone and the new phone, so I can kind of use the old phone just as an alarm clock.
That's
so
true.
I could sell it or whatever, but I can't really be bothered.
What I use my iPad for when I'm when I'm not staying at home, like if I'm in a hotel or something, what I'll do is I'll set my iPad up with a charger attached to it and put it over the other side of the room and use I think it's Rise is the alarm, the sort of fairly neat looking alarm clock. But of course that leaves the screen on and you can make it nice and dim, so you've got like a nightlight with a clock on it.
Okay.
So you can actually, I don't know, the thing about hotels, right, is they're always like totally pitch black. I mean, like totally pitch black. So if you ever need to get up in the night, it's like, what that you just.
They do that on purpose for people who
quite hard.
For people who have jet lag.
I get it. I guess it makes sense, but it's not like they have a. What you need is a button somewhere to turn on the non-irritating lights. So, like, your other half or whatever isn't woken up by you turning a light on, but it's just enough so you can see where you're going. Like some kind of floor lighting, like when aircraft are in trouble or something.
Yeah, little emergency lights down the aisle. That'd be cool.
Yeah, lead me to the toilet, please.
Yeah, the toilet lights. That'd be super convenient. So Robco hotels.
I can just imagine the Premier Inn ads now of Lenny Henry going, now with new bog lights.
Find your way to the bog.
Good night's sleep guaranteed. Or your bladder back.
Why are they taking my bladder? No. I had a bad night, give it back.
That's how they solve the problem of needing to go pee at night. They just take away your bladder and then you just leak. Good.
Ew. So we opened this podcast with bed shitting and now we've gone to like
bed wetting.
Bed wetting, involuntary bed wetting. Well, I know it is all involuntary, but this is especially involuntary because they've removed your bladder.
Solves the problem. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
I mean, they launder everything.
The problem at all.
So.
Right, okay.
So they'd have to launder after you left anyway, so, why not make it slightly pissy?
I can't wait for the Robco hotels.
Sleep fuckers. I'm on to something.
Definitely. Just name every product that way.
That way. In that fashion.
In that
what
mode.
You do.
Right, so yes, this is a podcast about video games. It's true. I think our random section has gone on quite long enough.
I've really got nothing like otherwise random to say.
I don't think that's true. I think there's a
well, I mean, there's no like random stories I can like. I've got no anecdotes of the last 2 weeks.
No anecdotes.
Yes, anecdotes.
In that case, it's time for news.
News.
Da, 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 da. What's going on in the world of video games? Tell me.
But we know the price of the Smash Brothers DLC.
And what is that?
Well, in dollars anyway. It's going to be like $5 a character. That seems a bit steep.
What's that, like £3?
I guess
like
roughly.
£5.
It'll probably end up being like 4 or 5 by the time it comes out here, but yeah.
Okay. And how
Seems a
many
bit steep.
characters?
Well, so far we only know that Mewtwo is coming.
£5 for Mewtwo. Don't know about that.
Yeah, it's not exactly the height of Smash Bros. Character awesomeness.
It'd be kind of cool if you could buy the character and the amiibo in one thing. So
that might make some sense. If you bought the amiibo, the character comes with it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, there's a tie-in there. Might give the amiibo some level of point.
They're kind of nice, though.
They're well made.
Sonic
Yeah, they're well made.
Yeah.
Although mine is still in box mid-condition. I haven't actually used it.
You're not. Can you use it while it's in the box?
I haven't tried. Tried. I probably should. They are adding. They have said that they will add for a lot of the characters. Like you may have the amiibos from Smash Bros. Say they're adding costumes to Mario Kart for some of them. Like so, I could get a Sonic costume for when I play as me as the me in Mario Kart.
That'd be cool.
Utterly pointless. They still haven't really capitalized on what made Skylanders, and I suppose it is the Infinity sort of interesting prospect. Really, these things do nothing.
In Skylanders news, related news, not Skylanders copy news, Lego are doing it. Do you see that?
Yes.
Lego Dimensions?
Yeah.
With quite an awesome advert with the dude from Community. What's his name? McHale. Is that his name? Joe McHale? Something like that? Anyway.
Which character is he?
He's the main dude in Community.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Winger chicken dinner. Jeff Winger.
The failed legal man.
Yeah. But yeah, watch that because it was sort of funny. And yes, they are doing Skylander style thing, which sort of makes sense with Lego. What do you think, Zeg?
Well, the whole idea never really made that much sense for Lego because it's like, for it to be really cool, you'd have to have a chip in every single individual block and then have it detect the positions so you can build actual things.
So what are they actually doing? They putting the chips in minifigs or?
Yeah, well, I would assume so. Yeah,
right.
Or just in a part or something. Like, yeah, include this part at the base of whatever you make.
So the kit comes with like the base thing. It looks basically like a Stargate, from what I can tell, and you go through the Stargate to dimensions. Like,
oh wait, so it's not like a platform. It's like a ring
sort of
that stands up.
Oh, yeah, it's a ring that stands up, but I think the actual platform is like at the base of that ring. Like
right, so they just added a really annoying bit of plastic around where you actually need to put the thing.
Potentially. I don't know. It's quite cool to have a little kit with a little Stargate or whatever. Maybe they'll make some...
If the Stargate is made out of Lego that you can take apart and go, well, we don't need this.
Clearly it's made of Lego, so you can just replace it, yeah. Oh, I see.
Is it a portal of power by any chance?
So they're minifigs... Well, you put minifigs on little discs, I guess, and the discs must have the chip in rather than the minifig itself, right?
But it must know what the minifig that you put in is for this to work. Otherwise, what's the point? It's like you just put a disc on and be like, oh, who do you want to be?
No, yeah, exactly. It's got to know what it is. So how's it going to work? I don't know. But they've got like little mini, those little micro models and stuff. They can fit on the discs as well. Some of them. Like there's a DeLorean for Back to the Future and stuff. Looks like...
Wait, they're doing Lego Back to the Future?
Oh yeah, they did one because that was one of the Project Kusu type things, where you pitch to make a model and then they review it, and then if you're lucky they accept it, and they managed to get the license for that. So there is a DeLorean already that you can buy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I don't know if they're going to do more Back to the Future sets. Well, obviously, if they're doing it for this Dimensions thing, they'll have to, because they've got a Marty McFly with a guitar. That's kind of cool.
Makes you wonder if they'll then do a Lego Back to the Future, like just separate game, if they've got that license all sorted out.
Yeah, I think they might do. I mean,
but I suppose it's Back to the Future Warner Brothers anyway.
Well, I don't know.
Or is it Universal? It might be Universal.
But the game, presumably, it's Traveller's Tales and everything, so it'll be a full-on
It'll be a Lego game.
game, which are known to be good. So maybe they'll put some extra effort in because it's, this.
It's one of those things that I wonder if we should ever consider the Lego. Not that we ever really play the Lego games that much. Whether they are fantastic candidates for the laziest sequel each time, because the core of the Lego games never really changes.
No, it's true. Yeah.
I mean, they do different stuff with it. I don't know, Lego Harry Potter is quite different from, say, Lego City Undercover. But at its heart, I suppose it's the same.
I mean, you had a good time with Lego City.
Yeah, I've had fairly good times with both those games that I just mentioned. And, at some point I'm going to tackle Lego Marvel, because that seems pretty cool as well. But
So yeah, watch that sort of space. I quite like the idea of actual Lego kits being involved with the Lego computer games. I think Skylanders is quite a good idea for kids, although it's probably a money sink, but that's the idea.
Oh yeah,
which is cool.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure they'll do their best to do it right. Although Lego do screw things up from time to time.
The trick is just to make sure that the game in which this is all happening is worth your time. Which is, I think, the problem Skylanders had with some of its last few games is that they actually became gradually worse.
Yeah. I can't imagine Disney Infinity is that fun to play, necessarily.
Well, no, I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like there's that much to it. And everyone has basically said that the draw of Disney Infinity is actually the sort of creator mode anyway. Where and anything that you have, when you use something, basically, and you go through its story and stuff, you unlock stuff to use in the play box or whatever it's called. And you can then basically dick around in there and create all kinds of crazy stuff. That is like Disney Infinity's trump card that nothing else has.
So yeah, Lego news.
I mean, in theory, you could set up a speeder bike race where you've got Buzz Lightyear facing off against bloody Mickey Mouse.
What, we start because of the Star Wars license?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ, yeah. I don't know. And they've got Marvel as well, so you could have Spider-Man on a speeder bike versus Buzz Lightyear.
I think that's what they did add that to.
Right.
Infinity 2.0 had.
No, not Spider-Man, but
no, not Spider-Man, because that's Sony has that forever.
Yeah, unfortunately. Although they've now, as we talked about before, they now have that deal where supposedly they will try and work together a bit more. So Spider-Man may return in less crappy films. No promises. Am I on my own?
What?
Oh, sorry. It just went very quiet.
Returning.
It just went very quiet there for a second. It was just am I on my own? I had to do my typical internet check.
Hello? Am I on my own? No.
Hello, internet.
Other news. Should we jump? Talking of Disney, should we jump to Star Wars?
I haven't seen the second teaser.
Oh, dude. It's really good. You should watch it. Yes, it is. It's good. I like the first one, but this one's good because it has the money shot. Obviously,
that's not good. It's incredibly obvious and
I know, but it's also fan service. Come on.
I mean, I know what it is, but explain to the users at home, the listeners.
Everyone knows that one, but that's a 2-second shot. But the rest of it is interesting.
Well, basically, I'd say about half of it is maybe interesting because you've got the start where it's here's just Luke Skywalker talking to you.
Yeah.
And saying stuff that we already know. Then there's the middle bit where it's just this is the interesting bit, but it's a lot of jump cuts, so you never actually really see anything. And then there's the ending bit where it's here's fucking Han Solo turns up.
Yeah, that's it. But it's the same as the previous one. You get a long establishing shot, then a bunch of jump cuts because you don't want to see the whole film, and then something cool at the end. So that's the teaser trailer. That's the teaser trailer. It is cool.
That's exactly what a teaser is, though.
Yeah, I don't know what you're complaining about. What do you want, Zach?
I think it could have done with just being the bit in the middle. That would have been.
The opening
they'd have
shot
to make it longer.
The opening shot was awesome, though.
The opening shot also doesn't make any sense, as I described to Rob, where it's the Star Destroyer has crashed in the desert directly next to an X-Wing somehow, and they're both fairly intact, considering they came in space.
The fact that the X-Wing is intact is a bit weird. Maybe he was a very controlled crash landing or something, and he got out or something.
I mean, they had, in theory, if he can pull up enough, perhaps he just bounced off some sand a bit,
And that's the other problem.
But
Goddamn
Star's
sand
right.
again.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
just Tatooine every
But
time.
it's not though. I've discovered that it's actually not Tatooine. So
It's-
But that's just an excuse because it's Tatooine.
Is it Tutorine?
it's some other planet, which is good because I'm
That's
bored
not good.
of Tatooine every time.
If it's another planet, make it look different.
Yeah, but
You've got a whole universe
like
to
we
work
already discussed, they've run out of biomes. Like, how
Yeah.
many biomes are there? They've done the snow planet, they've done the desert planet, they've done the forest planet.
I mean, they can
Done
do
the
the desert
jungle
planet again as long as they make sure that the stuff on it is quite culturally different.
That's what they're
that's
going to
the
do,
trick,
I think.
isn't it?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they filmed it in a different, like Tatooine's Tunisia, and this is like Saudi Arabia or something. Like, they filmed it in a totally different place. It'll be
Whatever the fuck
different
that
to
means.
Tatooine.
I don't think Tatooine was. Did they actually use any real buildings? I mean, they used sort of the same style of mud, that orange, whatever you call
Yeah.
that style
Sure.
of buildings, but they weren't real buildings, were they? They were
No,
all
but have you seen any
specially
of
made.
those specially made? Like, have you seen any of that Tatooine style architecture in the new film? No,
Haven't seen anything apart from sand in the new.
exactly. So
Well, and the fact that there was some. Well, we might have seen a glimpse of it from afar on that shot from the first teaser, right? Where Womany is on her weirdly
her weird
proportioned
speeder bike
bike.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
the insane cube bike thing, which I didn't like very much.
It was
Yeah.
a bit weird.
But yeah. So it looks
Although
like
I suppose
it's
you
like,
could argue that bike shares somewhat of a look to a pod racer. It's like a pod racer engine without the crazy hanging off bit.
I guess.
Someone remind me, how long do Wookiees actually live?
I don't know, but
They never die,
Chewbacca
man. What are you
looks
talking about?
pretty much like he hasn't aged at all. which
Yeah,
is
exactly.
really-
It looks really weird.
Given
I mean,
Han Solo is like 75.
yeah, it's like if they do age much slower, then that's fine. but
That's
it's still,
fine.
It's still kind of weird. He should
Yeah.
have had a new bandana or something, or bandolier, just to make it look slightly different.
I don't know, can we
Because he
give
calls him Chewie, so you know it's Chewie.
It's definitely Chewie.
Can we give him a bandana as well?
Yes,
Not a bandolier. I want to see what Chewie. in the
either of
bandana.
those, or both.
They're
Just
not going to
something-
be in it that much, Zach, I don't think.
Well, no, they're only going to exist right at the start. And then-
Well, whenever it is.
or maybe
But
the end.
they'll be-
maybe
they'll be
maybe
in
the
it
start
a
and the
bit.
end.
But it's mostly going to be the Daisy Ridley and John Boyega characters, I think. Which
Well,
is good.
I guess they have to be in it to some extent because fucking you see the Millennium Falcon flying around all the goddamn time.
Yeah, but they don't have to be flying it. Like, loads of people have owned the Millennium Falcon. Like, obviously they're going to
That's
be
also
on the.
true.
I don't think they're going to be. Han Solo is going to be doing all those insane flips and stuff. I
No,
don't
I
think
don't
he's
know.
going to be flying it. Obviously he's on the Millennium Falcon because he says Chewie, we're home, and they're clearly in the Falcon, so that makes sense. But I wouldn't have thought they're like in charge necessarily.
I don't know. He seems like he'd want to be in charge. Of
That's
his,
true.
Of
He
his
is
ship.
Han Solo, and it is his ship. Yeah, I don't know. I sort of like the look of the kind of weird, like, new Empire. We saw the Stormtrooper guys, but what are they? Apparently, then, do you see their logo or whatever? A big red, like, sun type thing.
I didn't spot that.
The big red sun type thing, is that just like their old logo apart from red instead of blue?
No, it was a cog, wasn't it? The kind of
Yeah, it's sort of a sunburst type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Same,
Well, it's
same
obviously-
general shape.
Yeah, it's obviously a derivation of that, which makes sense.
Wookiees live for
The
several standard
Rebels
centuries.
had the red symbol.
There you go. Wookiees live for ages.
That's disappointing.
Why?
Because you need to make him look different. Because the trouble is that now he
It
actually
doesn't
sort
look
of...
exactly the same.
Well, now he actually sort of looks younger because now he's like a better,
A better
like
model,
suit or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I didn't realize, but I was looking this up. But that droid that you saw in the first teaser, Rob,
Oh yeah.
the ball thing,
The ball droid. Yeah.
that's a practical prop. That's not CGI. They have
Really?
they had it come out on stage and it full on works. Like it rolls and the head stays on the top with magnets and shit and spins around and stuff. It's
How
amazing.
the fuck do they work?
Apparently, it's like some Disney acquired some company that does.
Does magnets?
Well, I've
Does-
definitely seen that kind of thing before, not as a Star Wars droid. I've seen that kind of effect before with
Yeah.
a thing that stays on top of another thing due to magnets.
Yeah, but it was,
Yeah,
I
sure.
was like,
but inside
wow,
some kind of like stabilized ball. That's actually quite interesting.
it's pretty impressive. I
Yeah.
think. I think obviously there'll be partially CGI. I don't think it can go as fast as it did in that first teaser trailer.
No, maybe they sped it up, but
Yeah, but they have it like on set with the characters or whatever moving around.
Huh.
like R2-D2 did.
That's really neat.
I'm sure I remember. I think I'm not sure if I'm actually remembering this right, but I think I've seen that tech before, where because it had the old version of it literally just had an RC car in the ball part. That's what I remember. It was like a hamster ball, but with a remote control car inside, and then the thing was attached to the top and then stabilized.
I imagine that's actually pretty difficult to actually know which way the car is facing inside the ball.
Well, yeah, I don't think it was. I think it might have been semi-transparent in that version that I saw ages ago. I don't really remember what the context of that was, but I'm pretty sure that's where I've seen it before because I remember the car in the inside part.
Yeah. Maybe that takes quite a lot of skill to remember or something. Or they've just come up with a better way of controlling ball droids.
By now. You'd hope. It's not just an RC car. They did just go and buy one from a shop.
Radio Shack special.
I like the new TIE fighters too. They look like the old ones, but kind of inverted colours or something. So they've got like white panels. Solar panel things. They look kind of cool and weird. And there was like a new Star Destroyer as well. Kind of smaller looking, which makes sense. And a new shuttle that doesn't really look like the old Imperial shuttle. Has really long wings and stuff. I don't know. That's kind of cool.
It better be good.
It's going to be good, man.
It better be. They've screwed this up before.
J.J. Abrams has been waiting to make this film for like 10 years, his whole life, pretty much. He was always a massive Star Wars fan. And, yeah.
And you could argue the last time that sort of, I don't know, I've always dreamt of doing this, happened, we got Avatar.
Yeah, it was a bit different though, isn't it? Because that's like an original. I don't know what the equivalent was. Because he did the Star Trek thing, right, J.J. Abrams?
Yeah.
And that went quite well. But he always
wanted... the first one, yeah. Second one's not so good.
No, I mean the first one.
Yeah.
But he was never as big a fan of Star Trek as he was for Star Wars. So, so this is the one he really wanted to do.
Do you reckon... Abrams hasn't done any of the Marvel ones yet, has he?
No.
Given how fast they're going through directors, maybe he's next on their list. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Once he's crapped out these 3 Star Wars films.
Crap them out. I don't know if he's directing all of them. Is he? Is he directing the
he's
other?
only doing one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought they were sort of planning to do at least filming for a lot of it all simultaneously.
Oh, is that right?
I guess that creates a problem for leakage, but that's how people normally approach trilogies now.
That's true. Yeah, I think
for Star Wars, at least they could go to different planets, and then that's the way they can write into the story of not having to be in the same location all the time.
I thought their plan for Star Wars was that they would take their time doing the full trilogy, but they'd have in between movies for the Boba Fett movie or something, or the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's their plan. Disney's plan for Star Wars. So there's going to be non-core Star Wars movies.
Make it last way too long. Make it take too much time between the films.
Well, that's how the original trilogy worked, right? That was 5 years or something. 5, 6 years.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Maybe we're spoilt by modern trilogies, planning to all come out within a year of each other, and it actually working out okay because it's just enough time that you don't forget about it.
Right, fair enough.
Admittedly, I didn't see the last Hobbit film, which I'm actually kind of annoyed about, but
the Batman films took quite a while between Batman Begins and
Sure, but when they did Begins, they hadn't planned for this.
No.
Begins was supposed to be sort of they literally tested the water to say, can we pull this off? And it's turns out they can.
Indeed.
And then they planned for it.
So, Star Wars video game news, Battlefront. There's been various screenshots and a trailer now.
Yeah, the trailer is supposedly in-game rendering.
Yeah, so there's all of this,
but not gameplay yet. We still haven't actually seen gameplay.
Which is annoying because it's that in-game, quote-unquote in-game, engine-rendered cutscene and stuff, and the screenshots, they look amazing, but that doesn't mean anything. really.
No, I mean, we've all been fooled by in-engine trailers before the thing has actually come out, and then they suddenly turn around and go, yeah, we couldn't actually make it quite as good, which I'm actually okay with. I think that's
yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, the game is going to look like this, and then it doesn't, which you could argue is a sort of a bad practice, but and it is misleading. But at the same time, I can understand why it happens. Because it's like, yeah, we want it to look like this. This is as good as it's running on our incredible test rigs.
Yeah, sure.
We'll optimize it for the consoles at some point, and obviously things have to give as you do that. And it's
totally. But it looks really good. Like, have you seen any of that footage?
I have not, no. But if it looks anything near like, presumably it's running on Frostbite and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So Frostbite has already got a bit of a pedigree behind it.
That's true.
I mean, Battlefield looks hella good.
That's true. This looks crazy good, though. But we'll see how that turns. I really want to see actual gameplay, just because I don't really understand how it's going to work still. Like, I know how Battlefield works, and I know how the old Battlefronts worked, but I still can't quite tally it with what I've seen with the like there's a sequence, for example, a classic thing is like one of the maps is clearly going to be Endor, because they're doing a lot of that's what most of the shots are from, Endor, right? With speeder bikes and stuff. And they have a whole speeder bike chase, rendered in engine and stuff. And it's like, well, how does speeder bike chase in a forest actually translate to gameplay?
Well, no, Zach and I had a bit of a theory about this, that it might not actually be like that there may be a speeder bike bit, but it might sort of act as a sort of transition or sort of start a round mini game type thing.
Right.
Well, I think it's like, because you're right, in terms of gameplay, the speeder bikes are kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Because you can't then have a foot fight going on with the speeder bikes traveling as fast as they do.
No.
Around them.
You can't really hit them, can you?
No.
I mean, you're going so fast. And also, you're going to just smash into every tree going, unless you have sort of Zelda-style horse tree avoidance tech, which is going to be kind of annoying. Which
is why I think it might be a kind of cool, like, start of round little mini game. Just like see, like one team perhaps gets an advantage if more of its team members make it through the trees unscathed or something.
Right? Yeah.
That's not what it's going to be, though. It's going to be like the jets in Battlefield. They're just going to be really slow.
Yeah. You're right. They're almost certainly going to not be like that.
Right.
Just because it's in it again, because this is in engine doesn't mean that the gameplay is anything like what we've seen.
No, exactly. But it's just an interesting thing to think about. Like, this game is coming out soon-ish. Like, how is it going to work? It's really mysterious. Like, obviously, there's a Hoth map with like AT-ATs and stuff. I mean, they've got AT-ATs. I was going to say, when you say soonish, when is it like? I think it's before it's November, isn't it? So it's
so it's not that soon.
Well,
so we'll see stuff at E3, basically.
Yeah,
is what that
I reckon
means.
so. Yeah. I think it could be good. I mean, it's like from that video, the other thing that kind of encouraged me is it looks sort of violent, which is kind of good, because I always think that, like,
Star Wars always dumbs that down.
Yeah, with the blasters and stuff, it's never as satisfying as like an actual gun somehow. So if you can make it really kind of kinetic and like big explosions and stuff, and a lot of feedback to your shots and stuff.
Yeah, it depends how well they render like the sort of, I don't know, the burn or the just the force of impact is almost enough, isn't it? It's not like there has to be a giant blood splat or something like that. It's someone has to physically react, which I think is actually a problem with a lot of like multiplayer shooters in general, and that you don't necessarily get the feel that someone is really caring about getting shot until they die.
Right.
Because they can't, because the player has to be in control on the other side. And it's so from a feel perspective, that's where single player games always seem a little bit nicer. There's something quite satisfying about leveling plasma shots into an elite when it shields down, because it sort of gets nudged and you get the you
get that feedback to your shots where it's like getting stuck and
or the extremely slow reactions of a guard in GoldenEye. It's still satisfying.
GoldenEye's hilarious.
I'm gonna very slowly crouch down because you shot me in the balls. Ow! My children maker.
My children maker. So that is Star Wars.
Star Wars news.
Should we go back to Deus Ex? What's going on with Deus Ex? They announced a new Deus Ex.
What was it? Humanity Divided is the name of the new one?
Mankind Divided.
Mankind.
Yeah.
Oh, I was close.
It was Human Revolution was the last one.
Oh, yeah.
Mankind Divided, which kind of makes sense. It's a continuation of the
the
theme.
Keep staying with that theme, yeah.
Which is cool because they kind of staked that out in the first one.
I think it's
like
strong,
that game.
isn't it? It's a strong theme.
Yeah, I think so. I like that first game, and it sounds like they're going the right path with it. Apparently you can fully ghost it if you want. Like, you can go through the whole game without being seen, I think, or something. Or certainly you can do it without killing people. Or you don't have to kill bloody bosses. Although they did put that into the patched version of Human Revolution, but this time.
Oh right, so in the patched version you could sort of ghost it.
Yeah, they changed the boss fights so that you had non-lethal options, I think, or just different options. They changed, probably, yeah. They changed the geometry and put new rooms and grates and things into all the boss fights. I think, but they were shitty anyway.
This wasn't the problem that they sort of forced you into combat anyway.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Which, if you're not spec'd for, seems like a bad.
Yeah, it was bad, and really annoying. But they won't make that mistake twice. And yeah, I mean, it looks good. Obviously, I mean, the last one looked pretty damn good. But
is it still yellow?
Yes.
Okay, staying with that. They didn't think to try another color this time, or
no,
they slightly shift the hue to orange or something.
No, it's still clearly rather yellowy. But some of the there's a trailer which is all CG and stuff, but that looked pretty cool.
Did he ask for this?
It was very violent. He went for the full stabby in that trailer, with the ridiculous the square arm blade things. Yeah.
Squams.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Egg?
No.
You're gonna play this. He's obviously got new augmentations and stuff naturally, so they're gonna power him up even further. He's got a gold nano shield thingamajig.
Well, that's all. You can't. They have to show that in the trailer, but that's not actually how you want to play that game. So it's that's not actually any enthusiasm for us.
No, I guess not.
You want better ingenious stealth mechanisms of some kind, but that was difficult to come up with in the first place.
That is in theory the key flaw of the first game, isn't it? Because they tried to encourage you, you can play it any way you want, to do the mass market appeal and all that crap, that they actually kind of sort of just half-assed both sides.
I don't think they half-assed both sides. I thought both sides went relatively well. I'm not saying it's a good shooter necessarily, but I think if you played it lethal, it would certainly be a lot more fun than frickin' the original Deus Ex being played lethal.
Yeah.
Because it had proper guns and stuff, and it handled quite nicely if you were going guns blazing. I thought in a couple of places where I was like, "Oh fuck it." So,
I mean, I still actually haven't played that, so.
Oh, it's a good game. I like it.
I mean, it's not.
It's not as good, story-wise, as somehow the characters aren't. I don't know. Adam Johnson is all right, but he's a bit too hilariously gruff. I know even JC Denton was a bit stupid sometimes with his what a shame and all of that. And that was so classic. But he was a bit more I don't know, believable or something than Adam Jensen, who was just hilariously.
I think JC was just more of a blank slate, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It was basically the BioWare thing, wasn't it? Yeah. Where you could effectively put yourself onto him a bit better.
Yeah, he was more of a blank slate than Adam. I mean, he did have a cool voice, but that's otherwise, yeah.
And maybe it was just because of the nature of the conversation trees as well. They were varied enough that it kind of felt like this is what you would say, as opposed to this is what my character would say. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know when that's coming out, but I'll look for a release date or something.
It'll be a while, and then it will get delayed. It'll be one of those.
So. But yeah, exciting. I liked the previous one, so I'm glad there's a new one. Excellent. That's Deus Ex.
At least they're doing right by Deus Ex, I suppose, is the other thing.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a total bitch slap to the face for the one everyone likes.
Yeah, exactly. So I just read that Phil Harrison is leaving Microsoft. Do you see that?
Yeah, that happened last few days. Or, was announced last few days. I've got to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on what he's been doing.
Right.
What his role or anything like that. It's one of those just where I just know the name and the face, but I couldn't tell you anything about him. So can you report for me?
Not really. I mean, I thought you would be the guy, seeing as you're the Microsoft guy.
Yeah, I know. I haven't weirdly not up on my Phils. Just in general, I don't have much of a.
Anyone called Phil? It's like no, out the window.
I mean, I guess Phil Coulson from Marvel. I do a pretty good job of him because I watch Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that stuff. So
he's your go-to Phil.
He's my one Phil. Yeah,
you're one. There can only be one Phil. Not even Phil from Phil and Lil.
Shut up, Philip.
Shut up, Lillian. Lillian. Other news available. Guitar Hero.
Oh my god, have you seen that?
What the hell is with that FMV thing?
Oh, I'm on the side with the dumb camp. Because reading the comment threads online about this has been kind of entertaining, because it is quite a 50-50 split between the people that say, this is so dumb, to this is so cool.
Right. Well, I'm probably the dumb
There's also
camp.
the other faction of you're not looking at that bit ever anyway, so who cares?
Yeah. So
It's
I
more
don't
like thirds.
really mind.
Well, I mean, I mind, not because of the dumbness of the live stuff. That's kind of fine. You're right. You don't look at it. But it's the fact that it affects the sound mix and stuff like that. I want the option to be able to turn that off so I can have... I don't want the live sound mix. I want the high quality, recorded mix that makes, that sounds good.
Oh, right, because they want to make it seem... Well, they kind of did that before, right? I guess.
A little bit. They had a bit of crowd noise in it and stuff like that, and they changed the mix to add focus to the guitar part you were playing. But in general, it was all just the master track and stuff. Whereas now, because as the camera is moving around the stage during the FMV live sequences or whatever, you're hearing a slightly different mix as you walk next to the other band members.
Right.
So as you get towards the drums, for instance, there's a noticeable change in the drum mix.
That's grim. I
mean, it could be interesting if they're doing it with elements of surround sound, which obviously most music mixes don't have. Which could be kind of cool. I mean, but it's one of those things that I can see myself sort of enjoying the first time you play that and thinking, hey, that was neat. Can I play Guitar Hero for real now?
Can I play actual Guitar Hero now?
Yeah.
Because the actual change they make to Guitar Hero sounds fairly interesting, where they've got 6 buttons and
it seems neat, but apart from the obvious problem that it renders everything else obsolete.
Right, yeah. So they have to start from scratch with all the songs and stuff.
Yeah, start from scratch with the songs, start from scratch with people's instrument collections.
Yeah, that's true.
They haven't at all said how multiplayer will work, although that may fall into the stuff about Guitar Hero TV, maybe, which in itself sounds kind of nuts. Did you hear about that part at all, Dan? It seems like it's Guitar Hero's party mode. But it's effectively streaming video of music videos and stuff off the interwebs.
Right.
But giving you note patterns to play along with as you want. So you don't actually have any control of it. It's just it's like a channel based. It is literally like a channel in that it's streaming all the time and you play with whatever's on.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Because party mode was a cool idea, don't get me wrong, but that's not how I enjoyed those games. Either in Rock Band or in Guitar Hero Land. It's that's not exactly what I want out of it. I
mean, it's cool that they're trying to think of new things and stuff, but I mean, you should just concentrate on the core game if they're going to bring it back. Right, that's my feeling. And how
it's
much
not
effort
exactly
have they put into these FMV things? It looked it seamlessly swaps out the video of the crowds depending on how shit you're playing or whatever.
Yeah, there's 2 copies of the video effectively. There's a good version and a bad version.
Right. So
and if you're doing bad, the crowd it swaps to the bad version with the crowd going boo and all your band members sort of looking at you disapprovingly.
Yeah. I mean, the video that they showed had that like a lot, right? It was mostly the bad one that I saw. I don't know if it was.
There's been quite a few videos out. Like there's ones that just show the good side, like without you screwing up, for instance.
Oh, are there? Okay.
There's actually quite a few variants floating about.
Let's look at that one. Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, is this going to be Battle of Rock Band and Guitar Hero again then?
I guess, but this time there's actually a noticeable difference.
Yeah. I mean,
which is going to make it not actually a battle, because it'll just be like, if you want to buy a new guitar, then you go to Guitar Hero. But if you don't, then go to Rock Band.
The thing is, Rock Band still has that considerable advantage that they're supposedly bringing back as much as they can of Rock Band Network, and so all of that content will be ready to go. But neither of them have said the thing that everyone really wants, which is to have some kind of karaoke style. When I say karaoke style, I mean karaoke style as in like when you go to a karaoke bar and you pay for time in a booth, and you get access to everything. That's what people really want. They want to be able to say, okay, unlock the entire network for 24 hours, say, for a couple of quid, and we'll enjoy that. Because it's unlimiting then, and that's great. You don't have to worry about, wouldn't it be great if we could do this if we spent way too much money to play this song once?
So it's like Netflix or whatever, you just pay for.
Yeah. I mean, they should, as I say, they should model it on like some kind of sliding scale subscription service. Is my opinion. Like the idea of doing it for just that one time you have everyone over, and you use it as a party game. That's perfect, right?
Yeah, that would work for me.
That's the best time to play that game.
I mean, if I could combine both, so I can buy some tracks that I could play myself.
Yeah, exactly. Why not, right? It's like, I think given they must be, they would have to be utterly deaf to not hear this as a common argument, because it's been floating around for ages. And if they don't do it, there's obviously some business person somewhere saying, no, we can't possibly do that, or more likely, there is some music licensing reason that they can't do that.
Yeah, but you can do what Netflix does and like rotate out.
Maybe
things that
depends
you
how much
lose
money
the
it
license
costs.
to.
Depends how much money it would cost them to run effectively a Spotify for Rock Band.
Yeah, because I guess you have to stream out the content, like because people can't just download.
I mean, you could.
Yeah. But I guess you'd have more downloads. That's okay though, isn't it? Right? But you'd have more downloads because people would be downloading stuff left and right, and then you'd probably wipe it all when they ran out of time, and then they'd have to download it again. Do you think?
Well, I mean, for most people, like some kind of soft limit would be fine. You could probably store it on your system as some kind of rotating cache for that stuff, right? But if you download it, if you run out of space in your cache or whatever, it just replaces that with what you are playing right now.
Yeah.
It depends how good the streaming of the data is for it, because it's probably not a massive amount of data, right? It's like
no, probably not.
Was it a number of music tracks for the for each individual part of the song that you could be replacing with a player, and the solid backing, and the note tracks, which can't be difficult.
No, I guess unless it's the stupid new Guitar Hero and you have to have two lots of HD video to switch between.
Then that could be kind of big, but
yeah. When does this all happen? Like this year, is it? Guitar Hero and Rock Band are back.
Supposedly, yeah. I don't think that anything's been officially said about dates. But...
Okay. We shall see. I kind of just want to play one of them again. Just probably the Rock Band. Don't know.
Well, Rock Band would be most convenient because we have all the stuff.
We have the stuff, yeah. Guitar Hero one is like, I'll probably try that in a shop,
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be up for playing more of that. It's been long enough, I think.
Yeah, it's been long enough.
Been long enough. So yeah, that to play out in a brick and mortar store near you.
Any other news going on? GTA 5 came out.
Yeah, on PC, and people say it looks pretty nice.
And it runs pretty nicely, apparently, even on a relatively
Yeah, not terribly. I mean,
Modest beast.
from what I looked up on my system, I can expect to probably just about make 30. So it's not that great, but you know.
No, but it's kind of the same as the 360 or whatever.
Yeah,
and probably look nicer to boot.
sure. Yeah.
And it has like a built-in movie editor that they announced just as they released it.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the output of that, but
it looks really like sophisticated. It looks like you can make some really cool stuff, and it's also doing that constant TiVo thing of like you have a recording of the last 30 seconds of everything you're doing.
I kind of hope you can turn that off just in case that's a performance hog, because I guess a lot of PCs aren't really designed for doing that. But
well, it looks like it's got a whole bunch of nice options, and it's easy to tune, so that's cool. I'm sure that option will be in there somewhere if necessary.
Could it be that Rockstar ported one of those games well?
Well, apparently the thing is they didn't do the previous ports, so that's why.
Oh, right. So this is actually an in-house job this time.
Yeah, so this is an in-house job with all the PC experts they had working on like Max Payne 3.
Oh, cool.
So that's why it's good. And also they delayed it multiple times.
Yeah.
And but finally
probably if they
here.
were adding editor, then sure, that explains a delay right there.
I guess so. But it seems like it is the definitive version, so probably going to get that. And even if the story even if the missions aren't all the best, it's just nice to have that world to muck about in and stuff. It's cool.
As I say, I'm still relatively interested in playing one of the new versions of that game because I didn't play the original, and maybe when I get around to building my new machine at the end of the year, that's my plan at the moment. Then
I'll get it in the Steam sale.
And that'd be a good pickup. So actually, going back to like people leaving companies, apparently Don Matrick is leaving Zynga as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That guy's a creep. Well, no, I mean, he seems creepy. I don't know if he actually is creepy. I'm sure he's fine.
Yes.
But that was quite hilarious how he like drastically messed up the Xbox One launch and then went to Zynga.
Who at the time was basically the devil of casual gaming.
Yeah.
And no real reasons given about that, but he's doing that.
Where's he going now?
Destination and reasons are unknown.
Destination anywhere.
Yep. Anywhere that will take him. Anywhere that really loves microtransactions.
Well, there's quite a few places like that.
Yep. Maybe he'll go back to EA, won't he?
Welcomed back into the fold of evil.
I've done this in a real bad order, actually. BBC, did you hear about this? They're supposedly making a GTA drama featuring Daniel Radcliffe.
Whatever. I'm sure that'll be...
That can't be real, can it?
No, it probably is real. It's not set, like, it's about the people that made GTA. It's about Den Houser, isn't it? The Houser brothers.
Yeah, because they already basically made a documentary about it.
Yeah, so it's just fictionalized.
This news report that I read made it sound like they were making some kind of GTA drama series. Like,
no, it'll be about the making of GTA, specifically
it'll be a
GTA 3.
docudrama, probably.
Because the Houser brothers didn't come in until GTA 3, did they? I don't think.
No idea.
So yeah, it will be a docudrama with Daniel Radcliffe for some reason.
Yep.
But it's always interesting to get behind the, even if it's all mostly fictionalized, could be worth a watch. It's nice that you get stories about filmmakers, don't you? So why not a story about game makers?
Well, sure. I suppose they do. They have sort of done those, isn't it? Like, I guess Indie Game, the movie, is pretty close to that.
Yeah. But that's a full-on documentary with the real people rather than being a docudrama.
Depends how much drama there really is.
Well,
whereas in GTA's case, there could be quite a lot of drama.
Potentially, yeah.
Especially if they start talking Jack Thompson stuff. I don't know.
I think they're known for being quite demanding, though. The Houser brothers and stuff.
Houses, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I watched. Have you ever seen Get Carter with Michael Caine?
I have not.
It's very violent. There's a bit where he chucks someone off the roof of a multi-story car park, which is quite funny. Anyway, I think one of the girls in that is their mum.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Possibly the girl who ends up tied up in the boot of a car, and then the car goes into a harbour and sinks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not a good way to go.
And in the film, no.
It's got heavy.
Yeah, Get Carter is really good.
Okay.
But it's really, really violent.
Not one to watch with no.
It's pretty grim.
Hey, you know what game is closed? A free-to-play game that we didn't think much of, but shares the name with a high-flying EA multiplayer franchise.
Battlefield Heroes.
Battlefield Heroes is no more.
Wow. Didn't know it was still on.
It was still going, yeah. Apparently it did all right for itself.
Well, it's actually the only one that played it, isn't it? Other than the other people in the world, but of us.
Yes, it was clearly me. Or me.
You didn't really like it, did you?
No. It was obviously dumb.
Some people apparently did, like, towards the start of it, and then EA got a bit greedy with how its economy worked, and then...
Its economy was terrible from the start, because it was just like, you have to buy the rocket launcher for the anti-tank guy.
And yeah,
therefore,
only lasts
100% fail.
And it only lasts a certain amount of time, right? And it's,
Yeah.
You had to make sure you kept playing in order to... You can only really play as a character without spending money, like, or a class, really. It was a bit weird. But it's no more, so never mind. The X-Bone has officially had a price drop in the UK.
Where are we at?
£300.
Hey, it's pretty good.
That's better than it was. Yeah.
What about the PS4?
Although you can get it a lot cheaper than that. That's the RRP, but a lot of places are selling it quite a long way under that mark. But I say quite a long way, like 280 quid probably with some game thrown in.
Yeah.
So it's, and that's the non-Connect version.
I mean, 300 with the game you want is pretty good value, I reckon.
Not too bad. This point in the cycle, I suppose.
How about the PS4? Is that competing?
I don't think it's officially competing, but I think a number of retailers have dropped the price of what they're selling it at. So I don't think there's been an official drop, but expect it to potentially drop, I guess, because that's the nature of these to and fro
price wars.
Yeah, I think it means that the X-Bone is actually technically cheaper than the PS4 now.
Right, yeah. Well,
on RRP anyway.
Sort of makes sense. Without the Connect and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's,
I think my Connect is buggered.
What?
It seems quite unreliable now. Not that it was, perfect before because of technical reasons. Now it actually just doesn't seem to be on half the time.
Oh, weird. You actually use the microphone function of the Connect.
Yeah, I use the voice control quite a bit. And it's I think it's neat, but yeah, so it's a bit of an arse when you start realizing that it's not working, and it's because the light on it isn't on and stuff like that, and it's like, oh no, what's going on? And you go to the menu and it's like the Kinect sees nothing. Well, make it see something then. It's so I've done a bit of research on it, and apparently it's there may have been a bad firmware update.
Oh, okay.
That is affecting some of them. Mine included, and that maybe they'll fix it. It's unclear. Kipper's apparently his one some time ago actually just completely died.
Okay,
and he had to get Microsoft to replace it.
So maybe this is like Return of the Red Ring of Death, but
yeah,
but
in the Kinect.
That's kind of annoying, especially since they're not even selling Kinects for virtually anymore.
Well, at least it's not unless you play what do you call it? Xbox Fitness or
Child of Eden.
Child of Eden isn't on X-Bone, but what's that? What was that? Oh, Kinect Sports, I guess. Kinect Sports Heroes or whatever it's called, Champions. Blah, 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 whatever that thing was. Pixel Face. Yeah, unless you're playing that, at least it's not actually a game-breaking problem. Can just get by. Still, somewhat sucks. And the last bit of news that I have, unless anyone has any other weird and wonderful stuff,
Nope,
is
I'm
that
out.
is that Sony lost its class action lawsuit in the US about misleading Vita advertising. So anyone who bought a Vita prior to June 2012 is owed $25 by Sony.
Oh, nice. Who's going to claim that?
Well, apparently they're like Sony are actually being quite forward, and instead of like being just giving people $25, they're like giving them options on stuff from the like they always have done, I suppose, when something's gone wrong. Like, here, have some stuff from the PSN. You could claim your $25 check from them if you wanted, but they will like give you some like bundle deals, or you can get all these games or something from the store. Like old games, but still games. So apparently the reasons for this class action suit were that in the ads they featured like remote play, playing games that weren't actually supported. So they were streaming something off their PS3 to their Vita, and the game in question didn't actually support that functionality, which is kind of shady. Cross save with PS3 wasn't as instant or as practical as the ad suggested. Apparently the ad made it look a bit like suspend resume, in that you turn off your PS3 and it's on your Vita.
Right.
Like right there, immediately, because an ad would.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have one of those little notifications that Apple put at the bottom of their ad saying sequence has been shortened or something.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, a lot of Apple ads have that little bit of text at the bottom of the screen. Especially the ones that used to just be a white background of someone's hand poking a phone.
Right, yeah.
They were, because they had been buying stuff, and it's like, here's how you get this, and he goes buy it, and it's there.
All right, it's done. Yeah.
Sequence has been shortened. And finally, the ads also suggested that live multiplayer games were possible over 3G connections, which is untrue because the 3G connections on the Vita only support asynchronous turn-based games.
Right. So that's just flat
So that's just an outright lie.
Okay.
So yeah. But at least Sony are making good on it. But, they had to go to court in order for this to become a thing. Because advertising.
Advertising. So
that's my dull news done.
What have you been playing?
Who wants to go first?
Seggery.
Again.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been mighty quiet during the news this time.
It was all boring, as you said.
It was quite dull news.
That's great. This is past hour of content. It's just all really, really boring.
It's not that I've got much new to say. I guess the actual new thing was Infinifactory updated again. Surprisingly, in like an actual fairly short period of time. I thought it was going to take quite a long time, considering how long it took to do update 1. But it didn't. Update 2 happened.
It happened.
And after it was because the first one where it was like it's the same mechanic as from the Space Camp DLC. Mysteriously. So then I thought maybe when he has to come up with an actual new mechanic, maybe it will take longer, but it didn't. So that was okay. And the new mechanic was basically, it's not, I guess you could argue it's not really that much of a new mechanic. It's like basically the input blocks come out as like an extruded line. So they're just all stuck together and you have to like carve it to separate off individual chunks of blocks. So it's basically the same as if you put the input rate to maximum on another puzzle, except then the blocks are still technically separate. They're just adjacent.
Right.
But yeah, so obviously, and then to manage the cutting up the extruded blocks, you have to have the new actual block, the laser block, to be able to cut them apart and do various things along those lines. And actually, that set of levels, I think maybe it's like you sort of have to do it so that the actual puzzles involve like quite large objects that you're making out of these plates of metal or whatever, or cubes of metal in some cases. Right. So it's like you can be making things that are like a 5x5 cube, but like carved out in various ways. But when you get to that sort of size of object, the game actually starts to suffer a bit. It's like it can't quite handle these really big objects. Particularly if you're like managing separate parts in different parts of the level, and it's like these huge 5x5 plates of metal are like rotating and stuff. It actually sort of makes the game run quite kind of badly in some cases. So that's kind of annoying. But the new level does have awesome music. That's something that I don't think I ever really said about Infinifactory, is that I like the background music, because it is like, it must be quite a hard thing to do in theory to make a puzzle game background music, because it's like you don't actually want to notice it most of the time. But when you do notice it, you want it to be good.
It's got to be sort of just ambient enough, and but have just enough to it that it can slide into the background when you want it to.
And I think that it's actually really hard to tell, because I haven't sat there long enough just listening to the music to actually determine if this is true. But I'm fairly sure that it actually like has semi-randomized loops. Like there's several points in the song that it can loop to. So when it gets to a loop point, it can transition to a slightly different part of the song.
Oh, I see. So is it like the song is basically cut into segments, but instead of just looping the whole thing, it will just cut to a different segment. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's the case. But as I said, it's hard to notice because I keep playing the game instead. Just sitting there and listening to the music and being like, okay, was that the same loop or was that a different loop?
It's weird that you mentioned that, about like puzzle game music, because I was reading an article the other day about a musician who is also a programmer had basically made an album for like music to code by, and had the specific job of trying to make music that could sit in the background and be sort of just stimulating enough to be interesting and to keep you going without distracting you from the complicated task of programming. And apparently it's going down really well.
Surprising.
Yeah. Like the amount of effort he went. It's an interesting read. Like the guy just went into like a lot of the efforts he went to try and achieve that. Presumably, as I say, puzzle game developers must have, in theory, you'd think they'd have the same problem to solve, but whether or not they tackle it like that is questionable.
So I played through all of that update. That was kind of cool. We did have there was a patch like a couple of days after it came out where it fixed a bug that was happening with the lasers, where they'd shoot like you destroy the block that you were aiming at, but the trigger time on like the pulse was too long, so it would also destroy the next block as well as the like blocks move past. So for optimization, initially I was just managing it by leaving extra space and like making the blocks one square too long, and then having that extra block get cut off by the dodgy lasers or whatever. But then I also discovered that you could do it an even more ridiculous way, but like the lasers had this weird bug, but the pistons that you can push blocks with, those update like correctly on the cycle or whatever. So what I ended up doing was having like the lasers next to a line of pistons. So when the lasers fired, the pistons fired. So the lasers would fire one time, and then the piston would get in the way of the bugged laser shot that would happen a second later. And then I solved it that way. And then they patched it. It was like, this is going to make a lot of your solutions not work. Sorry about that. It's like, well, okay, I guess. It makes everything a lot easier because I have to have all these extra pistons and shit. So that was helpful.
Did you know that was a bug at the time then?
I thought it probably was, because it seemed a bit weird, where it's just like, because everything is happening on like a single cycle or whatever, you can see how it steps through the process of each individual cycle. Even if the blocks are like moving smoothly along a conveyor belt, you know that if it's within this one square's space when this thing happens, it should only affect it for that one square's worth of space. So yeah, I did sort of realise that it was fucked, but I worked around it.
Fair enough. How much more content is there, do you reckon he'll put in before he's consider it done and the game comes out of early access?
Well, in theory, because of the layout of the level select screen, probably at least 2 more updates. But that doesn't necessarily mean he won't rearrange the layout of the level select screen. It's just he's basically just copied the level select screen of the original sequence of levels and put it onto a different tab, basically.
Okay.
So it's got the same number of slots. But I think that would probably make sense. we'll see. Really, that the second set of missions, story-wise, was a bit weird. It's like you have this rebel faction that you're working for, and the first one is about stealing shit. The teleporter set of levels is like steal resources, and that makes sense. But then the second level is just like, now we're going to build a space station. It's like that's a bit of a jump up from your initial rebel plans, especially because it may not be significant, but some of the levels as you go through the original set of levels, they have like names where it's like Skydock and then some numbers where it's it's obviously just like the name of the planet or whatever. Apart from not planets, they're like locations, I suppose. So there's some of those which are like production facility number, and that's like okay, that makes sense. But then in the new update level, it's production facility 1, and it's like this seems sort of like it might be the homeworld of the aliens, but they've abandoned it for some reason. But it's like it suggests that they abandoned it because there wasn't any resources left, apart from all this metal that's continuously extruding out of the walls all the time that you just need to make a space station with. It's like that sort of does make sense, but whatever, I guess. Maybe production location number 1 doesn't actually mean number 1. There's giant statues of the aliens in the background, and it's like this seems like an important place that for some reason they've abandoned, even though it totally still seems fully functional. Maybe it's a trap. Who knows?
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
So there's that. I guess I played some Starbound with Kippers and Jammy to some extent.
Quite a lot of that.
We probably were playing that before the last podcast.
I think you must have been.
Probably.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it.
But we played some more of that. But we basically got to the end of where the content exists at this point. It's like the content sort of peters out to even more placeholder stuff than it already seems like it was. Where it's just like, well, the side quests started getting annoying because I hope they're kind of placeholdery, because the side missions in between the main missions had become basically get a specific object and that object will spawn in one of the randomly spawned locations, which is like, that's fine, sort of, except it's like all of the side missions are that. So it's just like walk across the surface of every planet just until you find the randomly spawned location that spawns the one object that you need to steal, and then bring that to the guy who wants it. And weirdly, in the case of when I was playing with Kippers and Jammy, it's like, because there's 3 of us, you need 3 copies of the item, but you can use the 3D printer to clone the items that you need. So you don't even need to find 3 of these locations, you just need to find 1, and then 3D print the duplicates. Which is a bit weird. But that was fine. We got to the end of that, I guess, more or less. You can upgrade your ship a couple more times beyond the end of... It's like there's still side missions that I've got, the more find an object type stuff, but there's there's no more boss missions. So we've done the 4 of those that seem to be in the game at the moment. And then it's just those side quests and a couple more ship upgrades. Make your ship exceptionally huge.
Founding.
Completely negating the point of having a planet even more so than it was already, when you only had a tiny ship.
No need for planet bases, because you've got your space base.
Yep, space. And I didn't really play much cities. I played a little bit more. Started like another one of my quests for the achievement cities. I think I've found that this city seems like it might be pretty good for having actually found like an efficient layout. Because I thought about it logically, and then I did the obvious thing of like tree branches, basically, except because everyone does these city layouts that are like square based, but fractal puzzle, fractal, where it's like an avenue goes in and then it splits into 2 roads, and then that splits into 2 sub roads, and it's like a T-junction tree or whatever.
Right.
Those are quite common in like how people optimize these things. So I did something sort of, it's basically that, except I was doing it with like Y junctions, basically. The avenue splits into a Y junction, and then there's 2 smaller roads, and then that splits into a Y junction, and there's 2 smaller roads further away than that. And that seemed like it worked pretty well until I introduced buses. And then it was the classic problem where people are well enthusiastic about buses, like unrealistically enthusiastic about buses. And you could never have enough buses to cope with all these people who want to get on buses.
People fucking love buses. You know how many buses there are going past my house? It's ridiculous. One every like 3 minutes or something.
I really dislike the bus.
I miss the bus. Now I'm getting the tube to work. It's not nearly as nice.
No, that's
well,
true.
actually, yeah, that's probably true.
In the end, what I ended up doing with this city was I modified my bus system because it was like I was having so many goddamn because the number of buses that appear on like a route is relative to how long the route is, and so that's the only modifier apart from budget, which you can sort of adjust, but you can only change the budget for like every route. So if you turn the budget up, all the routes get more buses, slightly more, like 1 or 2 maybe. But then because of that, it's just like if you've made a route and that route is so popular that your buses are never picking up enough people, you just have to make the same route again on top of it, and then that gets really confusing because it's like, now I've got 2 routes that are the same route, and if I want to change one of these routes, I have to individually move the bus stops on each of the duplicate routes that are stacked on top of each other. So that becomes a giant pain in the ass. So, eventually I just said, fuck this really long bus route, I'll just make a really short bus route that transfers people to a subway, and then use the subway for the actual drop-off. And that worked fine. Because subways actually have ludicrous capacity compared. It's like the buses. It's like each individual bus can fit 30 people, and then one subway train is like 2,000 people.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yep.
It's the same with the tube and the bus here. It's
technically realism, but I think 30 is maybe a bit small for it.
Yeah, it's more like 50 and 1,000. Like I think 1,000 people fit on a tube train.
Really?
And if you actually think there's 10 cars, they're really long. You can get 100 people in a car. It's amazing. The capacity of rapid transit is so much higher than any other form.
Because everyone has to be standing up.
Also, probably why it's so much more unbearable.
Well, because there's so many people.
Yeah.
But it's like it gets to the point where even the ludicrously high capacity subway cars cannot be enough, and then you're like, now I have to build a duplicate subway route on top of a subway route I've already made, and that's even harder than the buses because you're looking at this weird like semi-transparent looking into the underground view, and you can't change the colors of subway lines like you can with buses, which does kind of help with the route management, because if you make each individual route a different color, then you can be like, okay, this is the one that I haven't changed yet, it's the red one. Whereas if you're doing it with subways, they're all green, so you don't really have any choice. Although I think there might be a mod to fix that, of course.
Naturally. I love how the mod support for this game is like even some of the official stuff is like in the mod menu, is that right?
Well, that's how they implemented like the hard mode and stuff.
That's how it works. So it's like all super built in.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So yeah, I haven't played that much particularly. I guess
the problem is you couldn't use the mod to change the subway colors because that would, if you were going for your achievement runs.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I should really test it at some point because there's like your save games have an icon on them that tell you whether achievements are enabled or not. And so I should be able to tell if I turned on some mods whether it would disable the achievements. But there doesn't seem to be. It would be nice if there was just an easier way to do that than having to load a save and then save it and then look at that save file to see whether the achievement icon's still there or not. Maybe there is, or maybe I just haven't noticed. But I was just like, I can't be bothered with this hassle. But also, do it legit. Get the achievements the proper way. So, yeah.
Agreed. You got to earn that stuff.
Been doing that a little bit. And I also played a little bit of E.V.E. Actually played it for a change.
Oh no!
Did some missions, as you do. Not really anything particularly interesting has been happening there. They've still continued to succeed with their 6-week update cycle, which I didn't think they were gonna. I don't think there's been one that they've had to like dramatically revert or anything yet. So that's all going okay.
But as you say, nothing that interesting is happening, right?
No, not in my parts of the world anyway.
Oh.
It looks nice. It's gradually been looking slightly nicer over time. I think one of the things that was meant to go into the last patch, but then was something that they actually dropped, I think, was they made like new particle effects for the asteroid belts and stuff. So it's just like, gravel, I guess you'd call it, like a particle effect that's not actually related to the actual mineable asteroids. It's just like atmospheric.
Oh, I see.
I haven't actually seen that, so I don't know whether I haven't been to an asteroid belt for ages, so I don't know whether that actually got in or not. But I think I heard that they had to delay it. So yeah, I did that. Just shot a few things. Oh, and the annoying thing about that is the most important website in the entire universe, E.V.E. Survival, hasn't been working for me recently. I don't know what's up with it. I think their site might be down.
What's that?
It's basically like a wiki where people have put in the exact spawns and layouts of all the missions. So, it's convenient.
Yeah.
So you can look at it and be like, do I want to do this mission? Can I be bothered? How long is this going to take? What's the reward like? What tank do I need? Because what type of enemy spawn? And all this kind of useful information. But that website's been down for like a week or two, and I've been slightly annoyed. I'm just using the Google cached page, and that's okay. Except in that version, obviously, it's like the really stripped down cached version, so you don't really get any of the pictures. And the comments that sometimes don't work or whatever. So that's slightly annoying. I hope that starts working again. I don't know whether it's actually, some weird... if it's an actual problem with their website or it's just some weird transatlantic routing issues that sometimes I've had that happen with other websites where it's just like, this site isn't actually down, I just can't see it right now.
Or someone forgot to pay their site upkeep.
Yeah, possibly. That site's been around forever, though, so it seems kind of weird. I don't know how much that must cost, but, someone paid for it for a long time, a really long time.
Yeah, some hosting is dirt cheap. Depends what you put on it. If it's just
Yeah, it is really just a bunch of text. Sometimes there's pictures.
Probably not a great deal, then.
No. Although the fact that it's been around forever can also be sometimes confusing when you look at the comments section and people are talking about how the mission used to be, because they're talking. It's like a comment from 2006 that describes how they did this mission compared to what's on the page now, and you're like, that doesn't seem like it lines up at all. And it's like, oh, it's from 2006. That's why this mission isn't like that any longer. Read the more recent comments. That will give you more of a clue. So that was that. I don't think I played anything else really, which was weird because it felt like I should have done again.
Yeah. Seems like a relatively quiet 2 weeks for you. Yeah.
I guess Infinifactory did take up a fair amount of time compared to how long I thought it was. Oh, and I did manage to injure myself playing Team Fortress. That was the only other thing that I played. Nice. And that was only like one day. I only played that? I don't know. It was just like I'd say it was some kind of repetitive strain thing, except it was a really weird version of that, I guess, because it was in both arms, but more in the right arm, so the mouse arm, which makes sense, I guess. But it's just like I didn't really notice it when I was playing, but when I stopped, I realized that if I moved my arms to a new position, it hurt for a while, and then it stopped hurting if I kept them in one position. So it was like some kind of weird repetitive strain thing, except not really, because it wasn't to do with the exact movements I was doing on the computer. It was just like I got weird muscle aches in general. So that was annoying. And that made it very difficult to sleep that night. Because it's like you'd think that wouldn't be a problem because it's like if you stay in one position for long, if it stops hurting, but lying in one position is not actually as possible as you think it is. You think you just lie in one position and then you just go to sleep and that's fine. But that's not actually how sleeping works.
No, I'm a shuffler.
Moving. Yeah. People move
I'm a shuffler before I go to sleep, so
yeah, exactly. You shuffle around quite a lot.
I'm a shuffler.
I suppose it's a fidgeter is the proper word, but shuffler sounds cooler. Every day I'm shuffling
when you're lying down, I think. You fidget when you're upright, and you shuffle when you're lying down because you've got more. More of your body touching the surface.
There is more of an audible shuffle noise in a bed, I suppose.
So yeah, that was annoying. Weird. Don't know why that happened. I don't think I was even playing like intensely or anything. I don't think I was doing that well either. So it wasn't like it was some kind of amazing where I was so intense that it injured me. It was like, oh, I guess I just played this for too long today or something.
Tense all those muscles to get that precise headshot. That's the sound of headshots.
The sound of headshots.
Yeah.
Obviously. So that's that. That's me.
Cool. What have you been playing, Rob?
What have I been playing?
What have you been playing?
I played 2 rounds of Counter-Strike again today.
Woo. It's like My Team Fortress. It's
Yeah.
like, just occasionally.
Yeah,
Play a bit with it.
that's all I've played like in the last like month or so. Is just these 2 games, and they went really well. We won both games, 2 for 2. Come on,
Woo.
quite satisfying when things are going okay. Although Kippers was getting his normal level of angry, but that's trademarked. That's fine.
Yes, naturally.
It wouldn't be playing with Kippers if there wasn't some level of cheating accusation. And proper games I've been playing. I
True games.
haven't played any Forza Horizon 2, and I'll tell you why. Because I have been playing Forza Horizon 2 Presents Fast and Furious.
Lol. I knew it. I knew it would happen.
Well, I noticed that it was only going to be free for a couple more days, a couple weeks ago, and so I thought, I better pick this up then, see what it's about. Because now the game is £9, I think.
Right.
And I'm just going to come out and say it as a value proposition next to the full version of Forza Horizon. That doesn't seem totally great. Because I finished the thing in basically 2 play sessions, and I would estimate it as being about 5 hours.
Whereas Forza has so much.
I will never finish a Forza Horizon 2. Like I might finish get to the Horizon finale thing, but there's no way in hell I will ever do everything that game has to offer.
No.
Whereas you can quite easily do everything that that Fast and Furious has to offer in that time. Maybe a bit longer if you wanted to mop up some of the final collectibles. There is one thing that Ludacris told me to do, which I haven't done, which is to if you go find all of the hidden boards in Fast and Furious, then there'll be some reward that's worth getting. Except I'd already maxed out all 1,000 achievement points at that point, and it was just like, well, I don't need to do that. I've got all the achievements. Bye. It's quite an easy 1,000. So it's basically just a very cut down. It's not as crazy as you would hope either, it being Fast and Furious. It's just, you basically get a third of the map from Forza Horizon 2, 11 cars that you can drive, all of them, apart from one, based on, I guess cars that members of the Fast and Furious crew have driven at some point. And the structure of the races and the events is a little different as well. So it's like the street races, for instance, are you don't have to come in a specific position. Most of the time you just have to beat one particular car. So it's like, it's fine, race, as long as you beat this guy, you're good.
Right.
And then you've got like some of the other ones, like, oh, this is a speed trap challenge, this is a da-da-da-da, and it sort of plays out a little bit like like some of the Forza Horizon side events. And then there are a couple of like the big. I think they called them showcase events in Horizon, where you're racing against stupid stuff, which makes no sense at all, but is kind of fun. It's a nice spectacle. So it's it's Forza Horizon 2, which isn't a bad model on which to go with. I just kind of wish they went further with it, because it's not Fast and Furious enough. It's not crazy. I'm not driving cars out the back of an Airbus. I'm not. I'm not anchoring tanks with the remnants of a Mustang. It's just not crazy enough. But it has to be said that you get the voice of Tej, who is played by Ludacris. Like, he's considerably less annoying than British douchebag.
Okay, that's good. In British douchebag. Why do they always have some? Games like this always have that guy.
We talked about this before, don't we? There's something about British developed games that the guys they put in are for some reason just come across as complete douchebags.
Who was that? I know this was American, but who was the stupid DJ on Radio Crash or whatever the fuck it was in Burnout 3?
Oh god, DJ Atomica.
DJ Atomica.
On Crash FM.
Oh god. It's been long enough. This trend needs to end.
Well, DJs in games aren't too bad if they're done well. But
no, if it's freaking Laszlo, then it's fine.
Yeah, yeah,
that's just hilarious.
DJ Tawaka, not a great shout. Yeah, so that was it. Really, that's pretty much what it is. It has got some mechanics in there that don't actually make a great deal of. That they've just obviously come from Forza Horizon 2 that have no purpose in this. Like, there's no point, for instance, to doing the rival events or to because there's no such thing as credits in that game because you can't buy cars, you can't buy upgrades.
Right. Yeah,
it's like the cars are the cars. You can't do it. There's no point in doing anything with that. And there's also the skill system exists as well, which doesn't really make any sense except for in a couple of the bucket list events, which are directly lifted from Forza Horizon 2, which are skill-based challenges. Build up as this many kudos. And otherwise, it's a completely pointless mechanic.
Right.
So it's strange in that everything from Forza is there. It's just the point of it is, of a lot of those features fades into nothingness. It is just an elaborate demo, but as I said, £9 for that now.
Yeah.
When it was free, fine. I totally understand.
Yeah. Totally get it. Yeah.
At £9 seems a bit of a bad deal for 5 hours of, you pay a little bit more than that and you get pretty much unlimited hours. I don't know, as much as your patience can stand, basically.
So, listeners, I hope you downloaded it already.
Yeah.
If you haven't played it.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by its value. So the other Xbone game I've been tackling, it's pretty much the only other thing I've been playing, really. I think I'm not sure it's still there, but it was a previous Xbox Game of Gold, and that's Rayman Legends.
Ah, awesome.
That game is actually pretty damn sweet.
Is that which one is that?
Rayman Legends is the second one they've made using E.V.E. art.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So Rayman Origins was the first.
That's right. Okay.
And came out in 360 time.
Because we played a bit of the demo or something of Origins.
Oh yeah, I played the demo a number of times because the demo was really hard actually. If you wanted
it was hard.
If you wanted to do it thing, and that kind of comes across in this as well. It is like its art stylings and the way it targets. It's got that typical, I guess, kid-friendly targeting. Seems somewhat misplaced in that it's actually a pretty difficult game.
Right.
Like, if you want to get the gold medals, it's not crazy hard, but if you want to go for the gold cups on some levels, it's quite a challenge. And it requires a level of precision in your controls and stuff, because everything is basically insta-kill in that game. It's not like there are occasions where you'll have a hit, but most of those normally result in you getting hit and then immediately getting hit again, so it's of no value. It's a pretty hardcore platformer, and it's a delightful game. The platforming is fairly solid. It doesn't quite have the finesse of a Mario game, but that's
it's always Rayman was always a sort of a bit floatier, I guess.
I mean, back in the days, it wasn't the same game at all. Like in the original days, like Rayman was a fairly slow paced.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a bit like, I don't know, it's like comparing Sonic to Ristar or Rystar.
Right.
It's that sort of pace difference. But now it is a lot faster than it used to be. Like there are plenty of stages that are purely based on running and timing your jumps and to sort of outpace an oncoming wall of fire, that kind of thing. It's it's more hardcore than its visuals would have you believe, and that's probably why I'm enjoying it, because it's kind of like it's not as hardcore as Meat Boy, but it sort of scratches that same itch.
Ah, okay, yeah,
not nearly as hardcore as that was Meat Boy, but it's still, it's still difficult enough and interesting enough to keep you going. I reckon I'm about halfway through the main levels.
So it's still got the whole sort of two-player or cooperative where if you die, you have to get popped out of a bubble sort of style?
You know what? I don't know. I haven't actually tried, and I haven't seen any indication of how you would achieve that.
Right.
Is the weird thing. The game has never actually told me, oh, yeah, by the way, if you want other players in, just have them push start or whatever. It's never actually said that, or never. I would assume you must, because that was kind of one of the core tenets of the first game.
Yeah.
That existed. But it's not. The game actually explains very little about itself unless you're actually in the game, in which case it seems quite keen on prompting you at the start of every level. Hey, by the way, you can hold the right trigger to run. Like, some of its tutorializing is a little heavy-handed. Like, right, oh yeah, by the way, remember you can do this, and then you'll come to a level a few levels away, and it will, with the exact same mechanics, say, in it, and it will be like, oh yeah, by the way, remember you can do this, and it's like, yeah, I know, you've told me that already, and it does that stuff way too often. It doesn't really get in the way, but it's it comes to a point where you kind of want to just say, yeah, fine, look, never show me this particular message again, thanks.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey!
I know how to open a door. Thanks.
I know that this is a door here because it looks like a door. It's like wood and has a handle and everything. Hey! Yeah. It's still a door. So it's very visually impressive. Obviously, based on E.V.E art, there's. It's getting to the point where it's like, why wouldn't it be? Those guys, whoever they have working on E.V.E art games, they're all amazing. Like, because Child of Light looks great. Both Rayman games look great.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I didn't even go as far as to say the highly stylized look of Valiant Hearts looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like the look of that.
It's these guys, whoever they have working on it, they can do no wrong, because there's so much art. So much art. Like, the way the landscape is built and certain ways that the backgrounds interact and stuff like that, the ways things animate and stuff. It's all really cool and really impressive and often quite funny.
Funny?
Yeah, it's funny in a good way. Like, it's obviously an intentionally silly thing. I mean, it's sort of silly humor, like the way that certain things act, the certain sound effects things make. Like the luchadors are particularly entertaining.
Okay.
Not because they do very much, but you hadn't seen them at some point, and they're diving in from the background into the foreground, destroying parts of the level just with a sort of a noise. And you're like, okay, that was kind of cool.
Well,
to the point where that has made my voice go a bit funny.
Sorry, listeners, we might have to compress that one on the output. I think that one clipped a bit.
There's a lovely waveform of that. So it's generally a very good game. Like, they do this challenge thing as well, where you can some of the levels kind of obviously just built from like component parts, I guess. Like, so. Like some of the runner stages, for instance, they've obviously built segments and they've sort of stitched them together to make a level, and they can obviously stitch the harder segments together more frequently to make the level harder or easier. So these take the form of like daily and weekly challenges, where they'll be like, oh, how far can you get through this endless, super hard version of the stage, say? And if you and then it goes up against all the other players, and a certain percentage of players get the gold cup, and even more players get the silver cup and stuff like that. And it's a way of earning extra, I guess, the in-game currency, which unlocks more variants of characters to play at. Not that there's any difference in mechanics, but the characters just look different. So there are extra ways of earning extra stuff, basically. And it gives you another reason to go check this stuff out, because there'll be new challenges every day, new variants of these things, and quite satisfying when you're doing a super hard challenge and you've been doing it for a while and you get into the gold tier. It's nice. It's another hook.
So have you got into the gold tier for anything? Or?
Oh yeah, I've made it a few times.
Oh, okay,
now.
cool.
Yeah,
nice.
Some of those levels are really hard to get into the gold tier, but others, it seems like, I guess it's just playing to whatever play style you have. I find some of them easier to get into gold than others. There are obviously some types of the challenge that some players are just really good at, and it's really hard for me to get in there, Guess it depends on the community and who's been playing.
But people are playing it?
People are still playing it, yeah.
Yeah. How long's it been out again?
A while. I don't think it's been out that long on Xbone, though. In fairness,
when did you get it? Did you just get it just now, or
fairly recently? Yeah, it's been in, as I say, because it was in Games with Gold relatively recently.
Right. Yeah, okay.
It might have been close to a launch title. I'm not 100%. Because it came out on Wii U ages ago.
Right. Yeah.
And in theory, the Wii U is like the definitive version of this because there are levels which, on the Wii U version at least, there was stuff you could do on the touchpad to interact with the level. And the solution to it in this is kind of clunky. It's not that great in that basically they map the B button and a character on screen to be what would normally be controlled by a second player manipulating the level.
Right, yeah, okay.
So you kind of, whilst doing your platforming, have to be looking for when to mash the B button at the right time to move the right object in the level. And some of that works better than others. Like there are times where, for instance, if you where the character will move to the wrong object at the wrong time and you'll press B and then the wrong item will happen or the wrong thing will, or the thing you're trying to move into place doesn't, and so you die effectively. And it's
right.
It wasn't really my fault the way it's like auto targeting, I guess, in some games. It can't always be trusted. And you often have to suffer the consequences of that. But it's cool. I like the music. I like the style. I like the vocals. I like the humor. Bosses are terrible, actually. While I'm thinking about it, the bosses are not good.
Okay, I mean it's so hard to get bosses. Even in platformers, like what are the best platformer bosses? Like maybe some of the Mario ones from like later, like the ones from Yoshi's Island or something. I mean, what?
Probably. I mean, yeah, Yoshi's Island stuff is kind of innovative, I suppose. And Zach will have to tell. I haven't actually played that stuff, but Zach will have to tell you whether that's...
that didn't exactly work on just platforming, though, because you had the shooting mechanic.
That's true.
Oh, I guess, yeah, that was kind of important.
What's the best platformer bosses?
Because the Mario ones have always been relatively simple, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like, you can't take any of the 2D Mario ones seriously, for instance.
No, not really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's often a sticking point, bosses.
Platforming boss was kind of tricky. I remember them always being really difficult back in the Banjo-Kazooie days, for instance, for 3D stuff. Like, that at least on the rare side, that they were never that fun. Even if the Great Mighty Pooh was hilarious as hell, it was it was still really a sort of mechanically irritating segment.
Yeah, fair enough.
I need to think of. It's annoying, isn't it? You kind of need to make a boss that's not a boss, really, and that it's that perhaps it doesn't mechanically change the game, but that somehow that its presence elevates the drama. Kind of almost you need to use them as dressing, I suppose. But then the other games are gimmick, I suppose. Yeah, garnish. A level garnish. I suppose the other game's a sort of unique feature, I guess, that was touted before the game had come out as kind of like, hey, look what we're doing is these musical stages, which are basically like these running stages, but every act that you do is timed to what's going on in the music track.
Okay.
So far, I've come across an orchestral piece, which I think is the one they demoed at E3 and stuff like that, and a pretty funny version of Black Betty, and a mariachi version of The Eye of the Tiger.
Awesome.
And those levels are great. They are seriously fantastic and stupid, and again, not particularly difficult, but the spectacle is awesome. Quite difficult, actually. And the mariachi one was actually relatively difficult in spots, but yeah, those are pretty awesome. And it's a shame then that there's only one of those at the end of every world, and there's only like 5 or 6 worlds. So as a feature, they were sort of going, "Hey, look what we've got. We're going to sell the game based on this." There's not much of it, so you could argue that that's maybe a little misleading, but
when the quality of the rest of it is high, then
yeah, it's still a good game all round. Just shame about the bosses, and those are the most frustrating for the stages. Yeah. Otherwise, kind of recommend. It's hard to not, really. It's good fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's got the draw.
That's all you need for Rob is a draw.
Got the
It's
draw.
like, I mean, if you had reviews, you could have a score, but then you would just have a Boolean value there for
Here,
got the draw.
got the
True or
draw?
false.
Yes.
Check or not check.
It's pretty much the guide as to whether you're really enjoying a game in a way.
I think so. Has it got the draw?
Unless you've got the sadistic tendency, which I suppose I must have done with Assassin's Creed 3. But,
Or the compulsion to come back even when you're not feeling the draw.
yeah, or Sonic 06.
Oh my god. Are you conflating Assassin's Creed with Sonic 06? Oh dear.
Well, that was a game that definitely didn't have any draw yet. I still
No.
couldn't get to completion.
Yeah, that's because you're insane, not because.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's a good game. It's stopping me from playing other things. It's just, I guess, that's also the same thing, really. I guess it's you're only really. Oh no, I did play something else actually. Thinking of it, I played a couple more hours of minimum because it had a minor update, to add a couple of modes and a new level or something. That game is still all right. Needs polish that I think it will never get, but it's I kind of have a good time with it. As a fairly simple, small scale take on some kind of team shooter, it works quite well. Just perhaps needs a bigger budget and more time, but I think there's a lot of features that they had planned for that are never going to make it in. But certain mechanics, like how the crafting system works and stuff like that, just seems a little odd,
Undercooked.
Yeah, not very well explained and stuff like that. And it's just a bit strange. It's like in theory, it's got as I say, this crafting system. In theory, you can spend these currencies on unlocking the blueprint for a weapon, and then once you've done that, you can make the weapon. But then you can also make multiples of that weapon, which I'm not 100% sure I get the point. I mean, there is I think it does tie into the Steam inventory. You can perhaps trade those items to other players, but at the same time, why would you build more multiples of the same gun? It doesn't give you anything. It works a bit like Team Fortress. Once you equip it to a character, it's like you're not limited to how many times you can equip it or anything.
No. Okay.
That's what I mean. It feels like there are elements that just aren't 100% thought through.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's because it's not like I can do anything with them once I've made them. I think you can turn them back into scrap, but then you don't gain weapons as random drops, so it's it means it's even more pointless. So it's...
I mean, would that be good if you did? I don't know.
I mean, I guess. I mean, maybe that was the model they were going for. It would make sense in a
maybe.
sort of Team Fortress kind of way that you would get duplicates as drops every now and then, and you need to do something with them. That's all I can think of, really. Otherwise, it takes quite a lot of time to actually unlock stuff in that game.
Yeah.
I played for 5 hours, and I think I've only really built 2 guns. Because of currency restraints.
Financial restraints.
Financial
Restrictions.
budgeting concerns. And that is me.
And that's you, Rob.
Yeah, kind of struggling to think of something else. Zach and I played some Besiege, and there'll be a video of that being made soon.
Look out for that, listeners. We're coming to the end of this podcast, actually. But check out happysalad.net for those videos, and probably our YouTube channel. You might as well just hit subscribe on that. That's probably easier, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Then you get notified. I don't know. Do you guys use the subscription feature on YouTube?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
Just because it's easy, if I'm using the Xbox to watch YouTube videos or something, the subscription, things you're subscribed to, get a tab you can jump to.
Yeah. I don't know. They introduced it a long time ago, and I, at the time, was like, no, I can, there's RSS feeds for this. I don't need to, use a special YouTube version of RSS. But now, of course, RSS is virtually dead, and everyone uses the subscribe thing. So I should probably go around subscribing to all the things that I use the RSS feed for.
No, I find it useful. I find it just as a nice way of short. It's just act as a bookmark, if nothing else.
Yeah, little bookmarks. That's kind of cool.
If nothing, in an ideal world, search would work reliably enough that you wouldn't have to. But I guess it's so I don't know, bloated with content now.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. I mean, Google are the search kings, and yet they still struggle to surface the right content on their own site, which is YouTube.
Yeah. They had another weird little redesign, didn't they, recently, YouTube?
They're always doing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a subtle one this
They
time.
keep
but
changing the auto playlisting stuff constantly. Like now it has like I noticed.
Oh yeah, that countdown before it moves to the next video.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
Admittedly, this sort of mobile and TV apps have kind of had that for a while, but I'm not sure I like it in the web form. Yeah,
I don't know if you. I think you can turn it off though, but
I mean, you just turn off autoplay and then that goes away.
Yeah.
Although I don't know where that option is.
It's in the bottom, just above the list of related videos.
On the right, yeah.
There's a little switch.
There is a switch. It actually looks like a switch.
Okie dokie.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
And there's a new version of my Wisp ink. I might as well plug that because I want feedback on it. Because I keep going. I've EQ'd it a number of times now. Did a remix of Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors, and the second mix was definitely better than the first, but needed some more work and So I keep going through it a bit, and so there's now 2 mixes up on my SoundCloud, which I think is under Glacial Spoon, but it might be marked. The URL probably has my name in it, Robert Kim, and so yeah. Anyone listening wants to hear some Planet Wisp, check that out. I need feedback. I need to know if this is the one.
Yes. Log on to that and listen and check out the different EQs and see if it's the correct one for you.
And we'll do another OC remix submission, see how that goes.
Yeah, because you did well last time, so no reason to think it won't go well this time. Sweet.
Shameless plug.
Indeed. So yes, and this is the end of the podcast. So thanks for joining us.
No Dan been playing
all that stuff. Nah, no section this week. We have run out of time, haven't we? I think it's like according to my watches. So
yeah, we're a minute over.
Okay, cool. And Zeg, any final words?
No. Again.
Thanks for joining us. Catch us next time for another Saladcast.
Bye-bye.
Bye.